Hi guys, so this is my next video to follow up my other video about the 10 things that I really love about living in Asia. As with all coins, this has two sides, so let's get started. Alright guys, let's get started. So number 10 in my list is driving. So you guys know I've lived in 3 other countries that are not my home country of the US. And so I have driven in each of those places at least once. Yeah, in China, I drove a few times because my ex-coworker had the electric scooter. So we would have to go to the store sometime. And she was just like, oh, you can take my daughter's scooter. It's okay. Like, you know, we can go to the store. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm not really aware if I needed a license or not. I don't know. Anyway, the other place was Korea. It was my friend's car and it was like super late. So there was like nobody on the street and he was like, oh, you can practice driving here, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I did it anyway, but anyway. So like in Korea, it wasn't too bad. But I still experienced being the passenger in a lot of cars and okay, definitely some of those is like the you might die level is like up there. But obviously, like, I've lived in Taiwan the longest of those, of these 3 places that I've lived. And driving in Taiwan is super stressful most of the time. Like, I've driven in places like downtown Chicago, which there are, like, people have, like, road rage like crazy, right? Like, so I grew up in Chicago, but a lot of my, like, older years, like before I moved abroad. So like late teens and stuff like that was in Indiana, which is like the neighboring state to where Chicago is in Illinois. I wasn't far from Chicago, but anyway. And we would notice like as soon as you cross that border into Illinois, the drivers are like, meow, 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 like this, like, you know, you have to be like a more aggressive driver. Driving in Chicago. So like I have the skills to do this, but like sometimes just doing it on a daily basis, I don't drive my car every day for that reason, because I think it would stress me out too much. Like I drive my scooter, but like I'm literally super close to my job. Like, so that's like a 2-minute, you know, rather than me taking my car like on the expressway or like really far out, whatever. It's, yeah, like it's so stressful, like because they are aggressive and selfish drivers in my opinion and my experience. Because like where I'm from, people will let, like you're going right, people will let you in. They like, if you're trying to merge, like most of the time people will be like, yeah, sure, come in. I'm telling you how many people have almost run me off the road because they didn't want to move. It wasn't that we were like stuck in like a super bad traffic jam or anything, just like a general traffic is moving kind of day. And I'm like, you know, turn signal, and you're getting to the end of the like merge. And most people like where I'm from, they're just like, girl, go. I do that. Like, I'll be like, I see you're trying to merge, just go. What does it cost me of a few seconds to let you do this? But here in Taiwan, it must cost them everything, because it's a rarity in my experience that people will allow you to like get in because they let you in. Like, it's usually like you have to like literally push your car in front of them. So like they're so close that they're going to run into you kind of thing. Like, it's that kind of aggressive. And that bothers me because I'm like, where's the courtesy when you're like driving? I don't know. Like, I think that's a cultural thing. You know, like I'm not from here. So I'm just like, okay, just don't kill me. And it's also part of the reason why I have cameras on the front and back of my car and the front and back of my scooter, because no. I use my turn signal. I use like, you know, like letting people know I need to get over, blah, blah, blah. Like, I follow the rules because what? Of course, because if somebody hits me, I'm going to be like, you're not gonna sue me? Just no. So that's my number 10. It's not always a pleasant experience driving in Taiwan, whether it's my scooter, or like trying to park somewhere, or like, let me tell you, like a lot of times when I'm going out into my car, like I know I'm going to drive my car, I have to be mentally prepared to do that. And like when I'm at home, I don't have to. I'm like, I know I can park. Maybe I got to park far from the door, you know, like I'm not going to be like right next to the shop door or something like that. But I'm like, I know I can find parking, but like here, it's a possibility you won't find parking anywhere near where you need to be. And you're going to have a 10-minute walk to get to the place that you need to be. Like, so that kind of stresses me out a little bit. But anyway, that's my number 10. All right, number 9. So number 9 on my list is the difficulty of which it takes to do things in Asia. For me, the most difficult country was China, to do anything. Like for me, being a foreigner, to do anything, I needed a Chinese person with me. It was so difficult. And I don't know if that was everyone's experience. Like, I don't know, but it was my experience. Like whether it was bank account stuff, whether it was like going to the doctor, oftentimes like even buying like a train ticket, a bus ticket, like these kinds of things that I'm an adult. I can handle these things by myself. Like even if I have to like Google Translate or like whatever, I should be able to do that. But the difficulty of which it took for me to be able to achieve those goals frustrated me beyond compare, because I felt like a child, essentially. Like, you're not allowed to do anything. And this is not everywhere in Asia. It's just my experience of like official things. And so I'm not like talking like going to the grocery store and like that kind of stuff. I'm talking about like official things, like things that you would need to go to a place to fill out paperwork and blah, 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 right? So like even going to the bank and things like that, like I will start with China because that was my most tedious. Everything, even if I had a letter like stating what I needed to have done, blah, blah, blah. Every time I went to the bank, my boss had to come with me. And it wasn't like a requirement. It was literally because if I didn't bring him, I couldn't get anything done, or I would be on the phone with him anyway. So like every time I had to do something, whether it was depositing money, whether it was telling them that I was, because I wound up traveling to Thailand, the US, like I went back home for a vacation, and a couple other places Korea, like this. So every time I left, I had to let them know, like, I'm going to be using my card abroad, like that kind of thing. Every single time that I was going to do something, like, this is private. I don't have to let my employer know that I'm leaving a country. Like, you know what I mean? But every time I had to, because he had to come with me to let them know, like, oh yeah, can you make sure that her card will work when she goes abroad? I'm like, why do I need you to go with me everywhere? It was so frustrating. So there's that. Then Korea. Korea was a little less so, because usually like banks and stuff like that would have like a foreigner, like place for foreigners, you know. Some things were difficult in Korea though. I think it was more like visa stuff was more difficult if you tried to do it by yourself rather than like you know somebody that knows somebody. Yeah. Here in Taiwan, every time I've tried to do something, I don't care if I like know the rules. Like I'm like the article, the website, the blah, blah, blah says, I need this, 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 this. I have this, 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 this. So you should give me the thing that I'm here for. Every single time. It never gets done the first time. Never. I don't know what that is. And I'm not the only person that has experienced this, because I've asked my friends and I'm like, do you guys have it like easier? Like, do you guys just go and handle stuff? And they're like, girl, no. Like everything takes 2 visits. So like working at a place that only gives you a finite amount of time each month to go and handle business is really not enough. I'm sorry. I think I see a spider on my ceiling. Is that a spider? It is not a spider. Anyway, so it's a bit frustrating. Like even me going to the bank. So for example, I went to the bank for my friend the other day. all this paperwork and stuff that Taiwan has you fill out for literally everything. The banking system here is in the 1950s. I don't know what it is. It's in the 19. You can ask any foreigner that lives here about banking, baby. It's something else. Even when I visited here, like, it was only one bank that I could go to exchange my US dollars for Taiwanese dollars. And I was like, other than the airport, like once I was out of the airport, it was only like one, like my friend was like, oh, you have to go to this bank in order to exchange these bills. And I was like, I am baffled. Like, what? Anyway, and also this was years ago, but even now, even me going to do things. Anyway, back to me going to the bank for my friend. All I had to do was go pick up her debit card, right? In the US, even if I lost my debit card, the most it would take me is about 20 to 30 minutes for me to fill out paperwork and put the... Sorry guys, hold on. Anyway, going to the bank is the most difficult. But even getting my license and stuff like that was so difficult because there's such like strict rules. But it's so crazy to me because I know at least several Taiwanese people that I have either met and have told me this, or like I know them through people or whatever, that have told me like that they just don't have their license. They just drive anyway. And I'm like, it's so difficult for me to get a license and you just out here driving. Why? Anyway, yes, the difficulty to do anything as a citizen, oh, I'm not a citizen yet, but as somebody who lives here, as a resident here, it's so difficult. And I don't understand. Like, I don't know exactly what the problem is. Like, I don't know if the system is like old school system, or if it's just like, that's just how things are done and that's never going to change. I don't know, but I just know it's so difficult. And I don't even think it's like really the language barrier, because like a lot of these banks will have like someone who like talks to foreigners when they come, right? It's just the whole process is difficult. Like the way that the process works is, yeah. Anyway, that's my number 9. Guys, I'm going to catch you later. Make sure you stay tuned for the next video. Bye.